Good morning, craft world. It is a beautiful, sunny but cold day here on the day before Easter. I am going to do a little video today on my take on the gorgeous boots that I have seen everyone making. I have a couple that inspired me to try and make one of these, so I will put the links to who inspired me in the description box below. Now, I do want to give credit to the pattern that I used to create this boot from Scrappin' Happy XO. She so generously provided us free of charge with a pattern to create your own boots. And this is the pattern that I used to create this. Now, I'm doing mine with just a little bit of a twist, and I'll explain that as we go along. I also made mine out of denim because I want this to have kind of a shabby boho feel to it. So basically what I did is took an old pair of, a pair of jeans that I found at the thrift store, and I cut the legs off, and that's what I used for material to cut out these pattern pieces. And they're, as you can see, they're so simple. Um, and even if you don't have a sewing machine, you could glue these seams together. It might get a little bit difficult in the toe area and areas like that, but it could be done. You just have to take your time. So, as I said, I cut these out following the number of pieces on the pattern and sewed mine together. Now, I did at the toe area, I wanted this to have more of a kind of a cowboy boot feel. So I did cut the toe and sewed it a little bit more square rather than the rounded end. And I made the heel just a little bit chunkier just because I wanted that look. The rest of the pattern I did not alter at all. This is just exactly how her pattern comes out. Now, what I wanted to do with this boot is I wanted this to be able to stand on its own. So what I've done is in the bottom on the sole, there's a separate sole piece that I cut out a piece of, oops, I'm sorry, chipboard. I cut a piece of this out of the chipboard and cut it just a little bit smaller than the outline. And then I inserted that like this into the boot to give it a little more stability. And the chipboard is a lightweight chipboard, so it does bend fairly easily. As you can see, you still get the movement, but it provides enough strength to make it be able to stand on its own. And my thought for wanting it to stand on its own was I thought that once decorated, you could insert a vase or vase or something of that nature into the center of it, or even just, like for a bridal bouquet on the bride's table if she had like a shabby boho kind of wedding theme or like a country western kind of theme. She could put that right on, the table, or you could even use this in your house to put fresh cut flowers in it, just put a little vase. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted this to be able to stand up. So what I've done to this point is inserted that chipboard into the bottom, and then I have stuffed the toe and the heel with fiber fill. Now, I wanted to also add more stability, and you guys probably remember doing like the stuffed animals that you wanted to be able to set, and you used rice or beans or something of that nature to help give it that firmness so that you could adjust it where it's at. So I am going to fill this just up to like right here with the rice, and then continue, you know, to leave an opening where I can put a vase, and just build the fiber fill up. So I have taken my rice and um, put some essential oils in here so that it would also serve the purpose as like a sachet, or you know, just a room freshener. And it was just a few drops of essential oils, and I laid it out on a tray and let it dry, and then just stored it in a jar. So I'm going to go ahead and pour some of this in here. And just kind of maneuver it around. And as you can see already, just that small amount that I have put in there really helps to give it some stability. And you just kind of maneuver it around until you get it the way that you like it. Now, I'm also going to be adding around that, just for some extra stability, some more fiber fill, and to fill out all the little curves that are in the boot. Like right here in this area, you know, to be able to give it that little extra stability. The other thing that I did that I thought would help it to stand up straighter, is I took the pattern and I cut pieces from chipboard of right up to here for the sides. And then like I said, I cut them smaller so that they would fit inside the seam allowance that I created when I did the boot. And then I painted them with white gesso, just a couple of coats, because you will be able to see inside the boot. And I thought this would do twofold. It would give it stability, and it would finish off the inside of the boot a little bit, because it is going to be open and you will be able to see it. So I cut off two of the side pieces, and then also the, as you can see, I just painted the one side because this side's going to be glued. And then I also cut a piece of the back of the boot, the pattern right here. So that now I'm going to just, before I continue to fill the boot, I'm going to just take some hot glue and adhere this right to the inside of the boot so that it will give it stability. And I cut this a little bit smaller because I wanted to fold this over to kind of get rid of the rough edges. So I'm going to just apply some glue to the inside of the boot like this. And you could use like Fabri-Tac or something of that nature, if you wanted to you kind of have to maneuver around the filling, but I wanted the filling in there so I knew where I needed to put the chipboard. So as you can see, I've just glued that, and I'm not worried about, you know, gluing it all the way down because the fiber fill is going to hold that in place. But this just gives the boot a little more stability. So let's put the other side in. And I did, when I cut these out, I did have to play with it just a little bit, just to get it, and what I'm also doing is the seams where I've sewn them together, you can either fold it to one side, or as I did in this case, open the seam out so that you have a, you know, a smooth finish on the outside. Whoopsie. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue this one into the boat. Gluing that seam towards the back and allowing enough at the top so that I can fold over the the raw edges. Oops, there goes my ring. And you do kind of have to play with this to get it in position, the position that you want it in. Because it's not perfect. Not supposed to be perfect. We create, and the fact that it's handcrafted gives us an allowance for it not being perfect. Not to mention that, you know, we're going for that Shabby Boho look, so we all know Shabby Boho is far from perfect, and that's why we all love it. So now you can see how putting that chipboard in there gives it that real stability. And then after I get this last piece in, I will continue to add some fiber fill just in these areas here, and that will further put in place the chipboard, because right now I'm just simply gluing it at the top, like maybe to right here, like in that area, just so it has some holding power. So I'm going to fit this last piece in here. And you do kind of have to fidget with it, like I said, but it's not hard. And you want to line up your pieces here at the top and just kind of stretch it and pull the fabric a little bit as best you can. There we go. Oops. And you also want to pay attention when you're doing this that you're not creating a wrinkle where you glue it. Even though we're going to be embellishing this and covering this boot with all kinds of yummies, we don't want wrinkles if we can avoid it. And at the top of the boot where I'm adding, where I'm doing the little fold over to hide the rough edges, we're also going to be trimming that too. So you won't be able to see that when it's done. So it's all going to be covered. So there you can see, here's the inside. And you can easily, because these are rice, you can easily insert, and I don't have a vase because mine are all still packed because we're going through this whole construction thing. But it'll easily sit in there, and then you could either set the bridal bouquet in here or a vase, and I just think it would be kind of cool to do that. So I'm just going to take some hot glue and just real loosely fold these edges over. And I am going to be covering, putting some lace or trim or something on the inside of the boot too, just to finish it off a little bit, so that when you're looking at it, it looks finished on the inside and the outside. I have been wanting to do one of these boots for a while, and honestly, I don't know what stopped me from doing it, but I've just been into this whole boho shabby thing, and once I got to, you know, seeing that, I thought, man, that would be cool. So here I am experimenting with you guys to see just how cool it's going to be. And I see that I have a little piece. Oh dear. I need scissors. Of the chipboard that is not where I want it to be. So I'm just going to take my scissors and just cut that excess piece off like that. Simple as that. And you can see here that the way the boot, the pattern is, that it has a curve here. So I'm just kind of easing that around that curve with the glue gun. And again, this is all going to be covered with the laces and trims and all the other yumminess. So you won't be able to see that. The other purpose for gluing these raw edges over is that this is denim, and as we all know, denim will fray. And while it's beautiful, I don't really want it to start fraying on here. So it kind of serves two purposes. And when I get to this area where it's, you know, where it curves down, and just like I said, I'm just kind of easing that fullness around that corner like that. And on the front where the tongue is, I did not put anything in there. You could, if you wanted to, put another piece of chipboard in there, but I'm just simply going to glue around here. Now, if you didn't want to use this for a base, you could, you know, fill it the rest of the way up with fiber fill and just add some more ruffles and trim, like this gorgeous trim that May carries at the store. I absolutely love this trim, and I did use this in a video coincidentally with denim, and I turned a pair of straight legs into bell bottoms, which, by the way, I discovered after I wore them that I have to add another row of lace to those jeans because I kind of felt like I was wearing bozo pants with it just being so far up. So live and learn. But I decided that I wanted to use this on this boot as well. So what I mean is that you could, if you wanted, just add, you know, that's just in there loosely, but just add, you know, some ruffles to the top just to hide that area. And that would be pretty too. So now that we have that done, I'm just, for the video purposes and just to make putting on the embellishments easier, I'm just going to stuff some more fiber fill in here just to smooth out any of those areas that need smoothing. And also to give it the fullness that I need in order to put the embellishments on. So that's what we have so far. And also, I wanted to put that in there because I put the rice in there, and I don't want it falling out while I'm working on it because I know I'm going to be bending and twisting this thing. So there we have that so far. Now it's time to play with, and I'm not going to show you putting the embellishment on right now on the inside. I'll save that for last, like I said, because I want to work on the outside and I don't want that stuff all falling out all over the place. So what I want to do is I have one of my favorite new trims, and I can't, it's one of my favorites, is this trim right here that's got the dangles on it, and I absolutely love this trim. So what I thought is it would be really cool to put around the top of the boot so that it, when it stands, it still has that little movement, see, which lends itself to that Shabby Boho look. So I'm going to start in the back and glue some, add some glue, and just start adhering this trim. Now, on the top, I will probably be adding another trim just to finish off the top edge. Because you know how we like to layer, layer, layer. So that's what we're going to do. Now that I have the back, let me put this down so you can see what I'm doing. Just adding a little bit of glue. I'm just adhering that right to the edge of the boot, like that. And then when you get to the front part, just kind of stretch it as you put your trim on. and then just hold it for a second so that will hold it open a little bit like that. The only bad thing about having that fiber fill in there now is I just know I'm going to have a ton of glue strings in there when I get done, but that's okay. We can pick them out. We all know what it's like to live with glue strings. It's just part of the game. And I've used almost all of this. Luckily, I'm going to have just enough for the top of this boot because I did use this in other projects, and that means I'm going to have to order some more. So I've gotten around to the back, and I'm just going to need another glue stick here. Just going to glue this last part up. And then I'm cutting right where the dangles go on this little flower right here. So this is the piece that I have left out of a yard because I love this, and I will be using that. I may even use it on here somewhere, who knows. So where this is overlapping here, I'm just going to add just a couple of dots of glue just to finish that off a little bit. And the glue strings love the dangles too. They like to get all up in there and mess with it. Okay, so there we have the first trim on here. And I'm just kind of winging this, ladies, so you'll have to bear with me as I hem and haw over what I want to do next, because I have pulled out several of these gorgeous trims that May carries over at Creating with Details, and I just want to decide which ones I want to use. I've pulled out a few appliques as well that we may be using on the boot, just because it's so pretty. And then we have this one like this, and then I have a whole stash of really pretty scraps that I've saved. And this one, I just got this one, and I think that is just stunning. So we may figure out where to put this on here. These have a little more of the bling factor, and this one is just more plain. So let's see. I want to do, my thought is here, I'm going to try to do, place some sari ribbon on here to make it look like it's laced up. So I think maybe we'll do that first to get that out of the way. And I'm just going to, when I do this, I'm just going to lift this up and just try it. And then on the areas where I glue the ribbon, I'm going to use some of these flat back pearls in this wonderful kit that May carries to use like buttons, because I didn't want to use grommets and go through all that drama. So trying to find the easiest way to do it without having to go through a whole lot of work. But you could do that if you wanted to before you sewed it up. Excuse me, I'm still trying to get over this yuck. So I've just cut some pieces of the sari ribbon, and let me find one that I think is going to be long enough. And I like the fact that this frays and it's wrinkly and curly. Yeah, I think this one will work. Just gives it, lends to that shabbiness of it. Okay, so I've just cut off a piece of sari, and I want to have enough, hopefully, to tie. I'm so sorry. To tie into a bow at the top up here. But if I don't have enough, we can just make another bow to add on there. Excuse me while I take a drink. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just fold, find the center starting point of the sari ribbon, and I'm just going to kind of fold it with my fingers just to give it that, make it a little bit smaller and a little bit smoother. And I'm going to find a starting point where I think, the lacing would start. So probably right about where that curve starts. That's where I'm going to shoot for. And make sure I have the center still. I am just going to add a dab of glue on either side. Excuse me. Have not been coughing, but of course, when you're going to do a video, naturally. I'm just hoping my voice holds out through the video so that you don't have to listen to a frog talking to you. So that's what I've done, just to get the base started. Now, I'm just going to, again, continue to fold this just to hide the raw edges a little bit. And going to kind of cross it over the boot like this. And just add another little dab of glue just to hold in that area. See, so we're starting to get that crisscross. Same thing on this side. Keep alternating back and forth. Just like you would if you were making, if you were lacing up a boot. So I need to put a little bit more glue right there. Oops. And you can tuck these in, or you can leave them, ouch, glue hot. You can leave them loose, whatever your preference is. I need to try Wendy's trick on putting a little dab of hot glue on there when I add a new glue stick. Keep meaning to do that, and I never think about it until I'm in the middle of a project. So I'm going to glue this here up to the next point where I'm going to cross it over. And do the same thing on this side. As you can see, I'm just kind of pinching and gluing at the same time. So make sure that that's even. And we can always go back and tuck and adjust if we want to. So there's our first part. Get these tangles out of the way. And then we're going to do the same thing. Add a dab of glue right here. I'm doing it right on the seam of the boot right here. Using that kind of my guiding point as to where I'm going to start the next crossover. Hopefully that will keep it a little more even. As I'm gluing this, because it's really hard to judge this. You could be smarter than me and just, before you start this, just take little, like a Sharpie or something and just put little dots so that it's more evenly distributed. Yeah, now I think of that. You're a smart one, you are, Robin. But that, at least, trial and error, you learn. And I'm still learning, and I will continue to learn because there are so many amazingly talented ladies out there that just completely inspire me to no end. And so I watch a lot of other crafters that inspire me. Like I said, there's a couple of them that I was just absolutely blown away by the gorgeousness of what they created. And I didn't want to necessarily copy what they were doing, even though that is a sincere compliment. If somebody copies exactly what you're doing, I would not take offense of that because, it's flattering that they liked it enough that they wanted to make one just like yours. Okay, let me add a little bit of glue right inside here to hold that over. And I think at this point I've gone far enough. So what I'm going to try to do now, again, I keep emphasizing trying because this is new for me. I haven't done one of these before, but I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to give it a whirl. So I'm just going to try and tie a little bow there. And obviously these are way too long. I'll have to trim them up. But just kind of create a little loose bow. Kind of like that. Of course, it's crooked. I'll have to straighten it up. But for now, I'm just going to cut off some of this, and I'll come back to that later on and fuss with it. But for right now, I want to finish up the lacing part. And even though I want the movement, I am going to, just to keep this in place, put a little dab of glue right there on that tail so that it doesn't go all wonky on me. So there we have that part. Now, like I said, I wanted to use some of these flat back pearls here in the intersections where the laces cross. I just thought that would be kind of cute to add like a little faux button. And there's so many sizes in this kit, ladies. It is just absolutely the best value I have found. And I'm not just saying that. I have purchased 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4. I have purchased, as I'm sure all of you have, packages of flatback pearls, like at the hobby craft stores, and they're really expensive. And I don't know how many are in here, but when you order this, it comes in this little kit, and it's just jam-packed of all different sizes, from the teeny tiniest to, the larger sizes. I just think that should be a staple in every crafter's craft room. So that said, oh, these nails. I love these nails, but they do kind of get in the way at times. See? As a matter of fact, I think what I'm going to do, just to save myself some aggravation, is get out my tweezers, because this could turn into a 2-hour video watching me try to maneuver these flat back pearls with my fingers. No, we don't want to do that. Now you could use, for the ties, you could use cording or even lace. Um, I mean, leather, you know, like the little leather strips, that would be cool too. Um, Anything that your little heart desires. I just have this thing for sari ribbon because I absolutely love the shabbiness of it. So that's what I chose to use. But you could use anything that you wanted to use to, you know, give the effect of having the ties. And like I said, you could, if you wanted to do that before you sewed your boot pieces together, you could use some grommets in here so that you could easily lace the boot and give it a little more realistic feel to it. So there we have that. Now, I think that, whoops, stop it. I think the next step I want to work on is, I have to get some of this glue off my fingers. It's everywhere. Work on the, maybe the sides. I did want to add some trim right here, or try to. Let me lay this down. There we go. So I'm just going to pull this out of the way a little bit and see how this looks around the edge. It's pretty, but I don't know. I don't know about that one. So let's try another piece of lace. This is gorgeous. It's on this really fine netting and it's all embroidered. And this is another one of those really high quality pieces that you really have to look at to see which side is the right side. So let's just see what this might look like. Let's do it this way. And I'm just trying to get the little scallops. Oh, I can see already this is the one. Yep. The scallops to line up in between here. So what I'm going to do, let's see, could we take that all the way down to the edge of the boot? I think that might be kind of pretty. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's the ticket. So what I'm going to do is just take my scissors and loosely cut away the netting from around the embroidery. Now, don't throw this netting away. This you could use for so many other purposes. You could add this to some of your flowers, or if you were making a dress form, this would be great little filler to give it that extra poof. So there's lots and lots of things that you could use this netting for. And I'm not being super careful because there's going to be, you know, other embellishments on here as well. And even if some of the netting does show, that's okay with me because it's just part of that shabby look. And I love shabby. I love boho. I love the combination of the two. It's just like everything I do lately is just based around that because I seriously love it so much. So I'm just going to continue. I want to cut all of this off and make sure, because I just thought about that, I want to make sure that if I want to go all the way down to the tip of the boot that I have enough for both sides. But I think I have another piece to, yep I do, even if this one wasn't long enough. I've used this trim on so many projects. It is just absolutely so versatile and so beautiful that it lends itself to just about anything that you would want to use it on. And the nice thing is this comes, let me see if I have a piece that I didn't already cut. No, I don't. Anyway, it comes double-sided. I've cut this in half. So when you get this trim, it's about this wide. The other side is duplicated, and then there's a space in between. So you can get double the use out of 1 yard of trim, which is every crafter's dream, to be able to get that big bang for your buck. And when you have something that you really like, you want to make it go as far as you possibly can until it's time to order some more. Okay, so let's just see how I want to do this. If I want to take it all the way to the top, because there is still room to push the trim out of the way. And then just, we're going to have to clip some curves here, but yeah. Oh yeah, I've got plenty. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to flip this up out of the way like that. And right here along the seam is where I'm going to place these little scallops at the end of the trim. And I'm going to add just a little dab right here like this, just to secure that end and make sure I have the right side facing. Yep, I do. And like I said, up here at the top where I've added this, we're going to put another trim around the top so it won't look like it was an afterthought that we put that in there, even though it was, but don't tell. So right here, I'm just going to glue, for now, I'm just going to glue these little scallops to the seam on the boot. Get my bow out of the way. And as you come to a curve, this is where you're probably going to have to, you know, just do a little nip and tuck just to ease that fullness. And I'm just cutting a little slit in between the scallops just to ease that in, like that. A little bit higher on that cut too, right up to the flower so it lays a little bit flatter. There we go. Trial and error, ladies. See, that's what we have so far. Oh, that's pretty. These are such fun projects, and I can honestly tell you that this is not going to be the last one, because I'm having fun. And that's what crafting is all about, just relaxing, having a good time, being creative, and just having fun. Obviously, you like crafting and you consider it fun as well, or you wouldn't be watching this video. See there, I just snipped right up to the flower so that I can kind of ease it around the tip of the boot right here. And it will just overlap on the other. Just took a little bit of the fullness of the trim like that. And you can see there's a couple of little wrinkles right here, but we're going to take care of that. Let me glue this part down. So again, I have another curve. I'm going to do the same thing. Just ease that fullness around. And when we get to the gluing the flower, the embroidery side down, we will be doing some more nipping and tucking there too. As you can see, I'm just gluing right here on the scallops. Another little area where we need a little nip. this off right here. Just like that. Now I will be adding to the toe. Of course you have to add to the toe. But you can see how, maybe you can't, yeah, there it is a little better. You can see how this is just sort of standing up. And we don't want that. So what I'm going to do is just cut very loosely in between the flowers and the leaves, just to make it lie a little bit flatter. We may have to cut more as we go along, but we'll see. Just trying to be able to release this so I can ease the fullness in. My glue strings are getting caught on everything. That's okay. Alright, there we go. So I'm going to start up here and just add a little bit of glue. And here we've got a little bit of fullness right there, so just going to add a little bit of glue, and you can kind of stretch and glue just to ease out some of those little bumps that you may end up with while you're doing this. And see, you can see the netting behind it, but that doesn't bother me. If it bothers you, you could take more time and, you know, trim all of the netting away, but I just kind of like that look. I don't know why, it's just me. So I'm just taking one section that I trimmed apart at a time and just gluing it down. But just taking those little nips and tucks just makes it go so much easier when you're gluing this down. I kind of like that as I'm looking at this. It really does kind of remind me of a cowboy boot. And I love my cowboy boots. I did do a little short tutorial on making boot bracelets, I call them, using some of the laces and trims from creating the details, because I love that look. But I only have one pair of boots, so right now, so I didn't want to commit to one style, and I just used some of her trims to just make like a cuff. See? Oh, that's pretty. I like that. Okay, well, let's do the other side. Oh, I've got to get rid of some of these glue strings. I've got glue strings. I've got a little fraying from the sari ribbon. So it's definitely a challenge. So now let me find. Yep. I have to turn this so I can see where I'm at. I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm just clipping as we go to ease around those curves. Make sure I don't glue my bow and my ties into that. That would not be fun, trying to get that apart, because the ribbon is silk and it's kind of fragile, because the process that they use to create the sari does kind of tend to make the fibers a little bit weaker, so you don't want to be pulling and tugging on it. I have to turn this around so I can see where I need to clip and snip. I definitely need to get my scissors sharpened. I've had these forever. These are Gingers, and these are like, I know, probably 25 years old. And I absolutely love them, but I'm hesitant to get them sharpened simply because I did have them sharpened once, and the person that did it left a little nick in the blade, and so now I'm I had to sit and kind of file that down to get the burr off of there that was left from the sharpening. So now I'm a little hesitant to go to do it again, because like I said, I've had these for so long, and oh my word, the cost to replace them today would be far more than my budget allows for. So I just keep on babying them and encouraging them to fight through and don't give up yet, and you know, all that other crazy stuff that we say to our tools, because we talk to our tools. We have to encourage them to work with us. So as you can see, I'm still easy in cutting just around those curves. And you know, sometimes you think, why did I have to cut that? Because it seems to line up perfectly, but if you didn't cut it, it wouldn't. Okay, so now I'm going to cut this off straight right there, and then we're going to go back and do the exact same thing that we did on the other side and just cut around all these little flowers and leaves so that it lays smoothly. And like I said, if these, this lace or the netting bothers you, you could take the time to cut it all away. I would recommend that you have some very sharp and tiny scissors, because there's quite a bit of detail in here that my big ones would not work on. So now we're just going to continue to glue and stretch just to ease out some of those little bumps that you may find. And you might want to use, like one of the glue helpers or something to glue this part down if you have sensitive fingers. Even though the Sherbonder glue gun isn't one of the old, really high temp guns, it'll still burn you. And May does carry these Sherbonder glue guns in her store, and I think I'm going to be ordering another one just so I have a backup, because they'll only stand up to so much use for so long, and I use this glue gun for lots and lots and lots of things, so it's always good to have a backup. Uh-oh, I just heard a squeak come out of my voice there. My family will love that. She can't yell. No, but I can squeak really loud. Let's see, I need to do a little tuck right here, just to bring that around to the end. And then any other places you see, you might want to. So there we have that. I'm just cutting off here at the end of the boot, right at the bottom of the boot. So there we have that trim. So now I think what I want to do is find a trim. See, that's how much I have left. Oops. Just a little piece. But we'll save it and we'll use, oh, here's the other half, duh. I founded it. I cut it in two right there, so it's really pretty wide when you get it. But let's see what we have that we might be able to use on the bottom of the boot. I have pulled out a ton of embellishments too that you might be able to use on here as well. Let's see if I have enough of these to go around. It looks like maybe I do. to go around the bottom of the boot. What do you think? I think I like it. We're just going to go with it. Yep, we are going to go with it. Okay. This will just help to hide some of the seams and give it that little extra bling or finish. It's not really blingy, but it does add finish to the boot. I'm going to cut it right here. And then start back up the other side. Like here. Just on that, right on the edge of that seam. And you can just sort of ease it around that curve right here. And here I'm just going to go all the way around over top of the lace that we just added on here. And all around the front of the boot. I can't see it. See how that finishes off that seam and just makes it pretty. I'm just gluing it right on the top of the seam where the sole and the side of the boot come together. And you just want to do little bits at a time when you're trying to ease around a curve. And just kind of take your time with it so that it lays smoothly. See, I could have done that on the other side. Yep, I'm just going to keep more glue on. Just kind of pinch that spot there. Let's see. And then I'm going to continue all the way around the back of the heel too, to I meet up with the other side. Keep looking to make sure I'm staying in frame. Oh, the glue strings are everywhere. And now we've met the other side, so I'm just gonna cut that off. Those aside, you might be able to use more of those somewhere. And just glue this last piece down. Just like that. So there we have the trim around the toe. So I think what I want to work on now is the toe, because that's kind of important, I think. What did I do? How can you lose? Oh, there it is. So I say, how can you lose a applique when it's right here in front of your face? So let's see how that looks. If we glue that down right there. And I think what I'm going to do, I know you're probably going to think, that woman is insane, but I think what I'm going to do is cut it right here and just use this. But let me see if I have something else before I do that that might work. before I cut into an applique. It took me a long time to be able to get to that point where I could cut into an applique, because I'm thinking, oh, you can't do that. Let's see what this looks like if we, and no. Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to cut just like this. And don't worry, we'll find a use for the other parts that we're cutting off. As I'm cutting this, I'm seeing angel wings, which I tend to see in everything, because I love and believe in angels, and I believe that they're surrounding us. See, you could turn that into a wing easily. So we're going to save those pieces. I didn't want to use the entire applique on this because I would have had to cover up this trim here, and I really didn't want to do that. So we're just going to glue this. Whoa, right side, Robin. So hard to tell. Okay, that's the right side. We're just going to glue that right into the center of the boot like that. So let me turn this around for just a second so I can see, yep, where I want to glue this. And again, you could take a lot more time, you know, cutting these apart and making sure that it was completely smooth. But again, I'm not worried about it because it's totally shabby. And then on these pieces, I'm just going to do a little tuck and glue it down. Still keeping that squareness on the toe, because I don't want to lose that. So again, I'm just kind of pinching like this and gluing. That. And just add a little dab here. Uh-oh, fiberfill got in there. Like that. So there you have the toe. I'm just going to glue that little piece up so it's even with the bottom. Just cut off that little tip. And glue that down. So there you have. Hi ladies, sorry about that. Had a little bit of an interruption there. So I think what I'm going to do is work on the back of the boot here, and I think I want to add a little flower. And as I was saying, I did make a flower, but I have no idea. I have searched high and low for the flower, and I just have no idea where it is. So I do have some other options that I've put together here. We have something like this. Let me turn it so you can see it. Possibility, I'm not sure. I do have this flower that I made using some sari ribbon and some of the other trims that I just gathered and cut in between the scallops. Let's see what that one looks like. It's hard to get this big boot in here. Yeah, I like that one. So I think what I'm going to do is take another piece of sari and just kind of make tails to go underneath the flower. Oh, jeez Louise, glue strings. Fraying. It's everywhere. It's attacking me. Okay, I'm alright now. Oh, maybe. Anyway, I just cut a small strip like this, and I'm just going to kind of squish it in my fingers and take it right in the center of the boot right here in the back, and just add a little dab of glue like that. And of course we'll trim that up maybe like that. And then I'm just going to add the flower. Right here. Like that. I don't know. I may trim those off a little bit, but I kind of like them dangling like that. So I'm trying to find an angle where you can best see this. There we go. So that's the back. And we still have the dangles here. So I'm just going to make sure, add a little more glue to the flower to make sure that it stays on there, because we don't want that popping off. And you know, I was thinking while I was doing this, this boot, while I was making it, I thought, how cool would it be to, you know, maybe even make a pair of boots for yourself out of the denim and the laces, and you know, of course you'd have to use something stronger than chipboard, but I just think it would be totally cool if you could try to do that. I may, or I may think, Robin, you're an idiot. Why would you want to go through all that work when you can just buy a pair and embellish it? But you could also make them like maybe a pair of house shoes or something. And I'm just kind of twisting the front of this sari ribbon here so that it lays a little smoother, and just kind of gluing it down. There we go. Okay, so now we've got the back, we've got the toe. So let's see what we can find. And I am going to do this. Don't worry, we'll get there. See what I can find to add on to this area. We've got, this is a flower that I cut from this gorgeous trim right here. So let's just see what one of those would look like on here. Let me cut one off and see. Kind of hard to tell when they're attached. And these are so easy to trim apart, because there's just these little fine strings that that attach it to be one long piece. Again, getting real bang for your buck, because you can. I didn't bother to count, but I know there's a lot of these little separate individual like appliques that you could get out of one yard, and way cheaper than trying to buy the appliques individually. That might be a bit much, but then again, maybe it's not. Let me try holding it out. See if there's anything else. Maybe some of these embellishments. Now, you know what? I'm going to go with that because I like it. So I'm going to glue it right there. Even if it comes around the back of the boot, that's okay. I kind of like that. Oh, yes, I do. So let me cut another piece apart to use on the other side. And of course, when you're in the middle of something, you're Puppies are just like kids. They want your attention. So if you hear her whining, it's just, I'm not paying attention to her right now. Trust me, she gets plenty. Oh, hush. Go see Daddy. Okay. So now I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Let me just drop like that. That is pretty. You know, the products that May carries make creating projects so easy to do. I mean, seriously. I don't care what piece you pick up. They're all gorgeous and are useful so many things, from, you know, house decor to clothing to jewelry. The only limitation you have is your imagination. So there we have that. And I think that I probably can't get any more lace on here at this point. So, well, and on the outside. So now I'm going to look at adding some little embellishments on here. Let's see what we have. I have these gorgeous pieces of rhinestone pieces that May have new on her floor. And I'm looking at this piece and I'm thinking, I just wonder if I added that. Oh, would you look at that? Can you see that? That's gorgeous. Because I am going to add another piece of trim here. But when you stand it up, it just gives it that little extra bling. So that is a real definite possibility. Let's see what it looks like on the toe. No, I don't like it on the toe, but we may use that on the top. I have one other one that is also one of the new rhinestones that we carrying. And what I did with this one is I had started to use this on another project. Is it comes like this, and I just cut them apart. So I'm wondering if I just used, can you see that? That's pretty. Let's see what it looks like on the toe. No, I'm not liking it on the toe. Okay, so I think I'm going to use one of these on that area. So let's just do that. Let's just get that on there now so I don't overthink, as I usually do. Just added some hot glue, and I'm just going to find the center and just glue that right on there. Now, I would advise using E6000 on this, just because it does have some substance and a little bit of weight, and you don't want your bling to come off. That'd be a tragedy. So I probably will go back afterwards and just add. See how pretty that is? Can you see that? Just adds that little extra something to it. Yeah, I like that. These, what I'm going to have to do is trim these ties up a little bit on the front. See how they're kind of flapping there? They're a little bit too wide for my liking, so I might have to do something with that. But before I go there, let me find something that would work around the top of the boot. Let me see if I have enough of this. Just enough. This is another one of May's beautiful trims. As you can see, I've used this a lot. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, again, cut into this and just loosely cut around in between. And I'm going to use this on the very top of the boot. Again, you could take much more time than I'm doing. And I couldn't really prep any of this beforehand because I never know what I'm going to end up using. So we're just going to wing it. Now we have two different sizes. This one has no rhinestones, and this one has the little bitty rhinestones. And I think I'm going to try using the one with the rhinestones because it ties into the little like buckle that we just added. So let me lay this down and see how that's going to look. I'm most concerned about this area right here because, yeah, I like that. Okay, we're going with it. And I'm going to have this little edge here that's got the scallops in it. I'm going to have that facing up towards the top of the boot. If it sticks over a little bit, that does not matter at all. It just kind of adds to the feminism, I think. So I'm just going to start right here and just add some glue. Again, you can see that mesh. You might not be able to on camera, but it is visible. And if you don't like that, you might want to take a little more time. And I probably will go in and trim that up a little bit better. Just to give it that finished look. And see, I wanted something too to hide this little buckle area because these are made for like ribbon or leather or something to go through. Which was, when I first saw it, I said, oh, I have to have that. I'm seeing a cuff. But you know, sometimes these pieces just kind of talk to you and say, yeah, you had a good idea, but what about this? And it did. It told me that. Yes, I'm certifiable. It's okay. Because I have fun. Excuse the background noise. So sorry about that. There's just no controlling dogs, children, husbands. They do their thing whenever they want to do their thing. I do apologize. I'm not good with editing, so unfortunately I don't know if I'll be able to get that out, but if I can't, I just want to apologize. This is a real life, folks. With all its little blessings and with all its little annoyances. And I'm thankful for all of it, especially on this weekend. Such a wonderful, special time of the year when we celebrate our Lord and Savior dying on the cross and being resurrected. It is just such a special, special time. And I was thinking yesterday, see, isn't that pretty? I was thinking yesterday and this morning too, as I see all of the posts on Facebook and, you know, everybody wishing everybody a happy Easter, which is wonderful. But I kept seeing all these bunnies, and I'm like, you know, bunnies are cute, but that's not the true meaning of Easter. And I, you know, had to look up where did the bunny thing come from, because I couldn't correlate. Oh, that's pretty. This came in the this trim kit or embellishment kit that also came with the crocheted lace trim kit. I'm not sure if May has any of them left, but all these little tiny cutie things are in there. But I was thinking, you know, what does the Easter Bunny and eggs have to do with, you know, the Lord Jesus dying on the cross and being resurrected to cover our sins? And You know, I mean, the Easter Bunny's cute. The whole premise of, you know, hiding things for the kids and, you know, it's all fun, but sometimes I wonder if we don't need to take a little bit more time and, you know, kind of explain what the real reason for the season is. Just like with Christmas, you know, it's great to get presents and give presents and, you know, that, but there's also a hidden meaning. Okay, I'm not going to add the other flower on the other side because I don't know what I did with it. But I have one. I have two of these. So there, I think we have that part. Now I want to work on the inside of the boot because, like I said, I wanted to use mine for a vase or something of that nature. So what I want to do now is try to, you know, just cover this up on the inside and just kind of finish it off a little bit. And I have a couple of, this is another one of Me's Gorgeous trims that I thought maybe would be really pretty just to finish off the inside. See, like that. Yeah, I like that. That's what we're going to do. And this would be also like gorgeous for the cuff. Look at that. You could embellish it, add more yummies, but just the width of it is perfect for a cuff. Again, when I look at lace, I see a lot of cuffs, but, you know, like I said, this thing, you know, they talk to you. They tell you what they want you to do with them. They really do. Not totally insane, just partially. So, I'm just going to glue this in here a little bit at a time just to finish it off. I don't know how long this video is because I don't have any way of telling while I'm doing this. I'm hoping it's not too terribly long and you've gotten bored and started snoring or fell asleep. I would hate that. But these things take time sometimes. Ouch, glue hot. That's what I mean. You probably might want to use, you know, like one of those little glue helpers or maybe even a pencil eraser or something like that just to keep your fingers from smarting, because these laces are laces, so they have holes in them, and you know the glue's going to get you. And I can see right here, I'm not happy with this, so we're going to have to add something there. And I really believe that's why embellishments were created, to hide things that you don't like. And I just give props to whoever came up with that idea. She's genius. That way everything that you do can just look spectacular. I'm just going all the way around the inside with this. And this is just the right width to be able to kind of disguise that chipboard that's on the inside. Just give it a little more finished look. So I'm going to cut this right here. Definitely needs sharpening of the scissors done. Okay, so now I'm just going to add the glue to this edge here. So now you can see that the inside looks a little more finished. Now I'm going to find something to hide that little bitty there, because the edge, because I don't like the way that that looks. It just does not look good. So what do we have? What do we have? What do we have? Do we have any more of that that trim left. What did I do with it? Oh, here we go. I don't know if it's enough. It's not enough. Didn't think. See how that will just kind of. Let me see. I think I had another smaller piece of this. You can tell when you start doing crafts what your favorite pieces are to use because you're hunting for all those little pieces that you save to finish up a project. Let's see if that will give me enough to go all the way around. Not going to work. Plan B. May has this really great trim. This is kind of pearls and rhinestones, which I think will work because we kind of have both on here. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm just kind of gluing my flower petals down a little bit as I see spots where they're needing to be attached. Okay. So I'm going to start right back here and just start attaching this rhinestone and pearl trim to hide that unevenness that I did not like. And this will kind of give continuity to the pearls and the rhinestones that we used in the rest of the project as well. Just kind of ties it all together. See how pretty that is? It just hides all that unevenness. Because when you're making handmade projects, you're going to have unevenness. You're going to have crookedness. You're going to have all of that, and that's okay because it's unique. It's one of a kind, and we're not machines. We're people. So, you know, we have to compensate for that and just accept the flaws as being part of the beauty of the project. Because it is. You know, we're our own worst enemies when we're creating. We're thinking, oh no, you know, that's just not good enough, and you know, nobody's gonna like that. And maybe they will, maybe they won't. But you know, the important thing is that you're satisfied with it, that it's pleasing to you, because it's something that you're creating for you. Even if you're making it for someone else, you know that person, and I'll guarantee you that it's going to be twice as precious to them because your hands created it. And to me, there's just nothing more special than something that people have put their time, energy, thought, and love into to give me a special creation, and I cherish those. So I just want you to think about that when you're creating and not be so hard on yourself and say, oh, that's not good enough. Yes, it is. It is absolutely good enough. And, you know, love what you do. Be happy about who you are, and don't worry about what other people think. Because you're never, ever going to find something that everyone is going to like. They're either going to like it or they're not. And that's okay. Art is subjective. It's in the eye of the beholder. And if they don't like it, let them go on with them themselves. Just keep doing what you do and love it. So I just got this little tiny piece right here, and that'll finish off that edge that I just was not happy with. And you can see when you move this boot around, it just sort of dances with that dangle trim. So let's see. I think I'm pretty much done with what I want to put on here. I'm just going to do a little trimming on the ties back here because they're just a wee bit too long. Oops, sorry that was loud. So see, I just I'm backwards with this camera still. See, I just cut those off right there just to give it little more finished look. And I'm seriously not happy with this in the front, so I'm going to do something about this too. Just make it a little bit shorter. And I'm going to just add a little dab of glue to the back of this bow right here, just so it stays in place. And there you have it, ladies. My little boot slash vase project, and air freshener in one. So, ladies, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that you have been inspired to maybe create one for yourself. And if you do, I would really, really, really appreciate seeing pictures of what you've created. You can just, message me here on YouTube, or, post it on Facebook and tag me in it. But I would really love to see what you come up with. And I want you all to have a very blessed Easter weekend and enjoy each other's company and fellowship, and be kind to each other, support each other, and until next time, God bless. See you then. Bye-bye.